15-0.
Right start there from the number 2 seed.
30-0.
Got a sense that this one may be quite routine for Federer.
I think it's a good matchup for Federer, really. His record's good against Tommy Haas. And Tommy Haas actually has done well to get to this stage of a Grand Slam. Hasn't had a great Grand Slam record really in his career, Tommy Haas, considering he was number 2 in the world for a while. It was nice to watch though, Tommy Haas. He's a very stylish player, and certainly, obviously, Roger Federer. He's got so much variety in his game. It'll be nice tennis to watch, I think, while it lasts. But I can't really see Tommy Haas being much of a threat here.
Yes, I think his time in Grand Slams got off to a bit of a dodgy start, really, for Tommy Haas. I mean, he had a loss in '96 to Mikhail Stich in his debut major at the US Open, and well, his loss to me. Actually, in his second ever major, I think that set him back for a number of years. I'm not sure he fully actually recovered.
Service, Tomias.
Actually, publicly said that was the most disappointing loss of his career. It's okay. I'm over it now. Come on, Roger.
Premier service. Zero. Zero. Quinze. Quinze.
German coming up with a nice solid service game of his own to start off this one.
Il est premier service.
That is just such a beautiful shot. It's the shot at times that's been a little bit in and out over the last 12 months, but when he produces a stroke like this, it's unstoppable.
Haas. Un jeu partout.
Serving from Tommy Haas. Modest man left in, 31 years of age. Has had his struggles through the years with injuries. He's broken both his left and his right ankles.
15-0.
But obviously the shoulder has been the really problematic injury for the German.
He had that unbelievable bad luck. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago at Wimbledon? I remember we were commentating on his match, and in the warm-up, the ball, his opponent hit a serve that bounced off the backstop, and as Tommy Haas was warming up to hit a serve, the ball rolled under his foot, and he went over, and his ankle just swelled up like a balloon. He managed to play, I believe, the first set or part of it, and then had to default. And he was so unlucky. It was like, at that stage, he must have thought, well, what's going on in my career? How much bad luck can I have injury-wise?
Federer.
Yet to drop a point on serve. Federer. Interesting start.
Federer mène par 2-1.
Certainly looks like obviously very early stage in the match, but it's like he's got a lot of zip on the ball today. I think certainly played pretty well the last couple of sets against Mathieu, but the round before against Akasuso, his ground strokes looked very sort of dead out in the court. There was not much lift off the ball. It just didn't seem to be going, a bit like Nadal yesterday actually, but today he looks in the brief time we've seen him so far that he's getting a lot of pace on that forehand side. It's really zipping off the court.
Some incredible numbers for Federer. First time since 2002 at the US Open that Federer has even dropped a set in 2 of his first 3 matches at a slam. I mean, he has been so dominant in the early rounds. That's what we've got used to, and I think there is a sense that almost when he loses a set, we over-analyze it. I mean, it's almost the norm for a lot of players. Even Sampras at times, didn't he? Struggled in a couple of his matches. We talked about the Carreño, we talked about the quarter matches and the things like that. But we've got so used to him just rolling through the opening rounds.
Well, I think it's a combination of Federer's level has dropped just a little bit, especially off the forehand side, but I think also the locker room, the aura that he has is not the same as it was. Obviously there's a lot of respect, but I think before, quite frankly, players were so scared of him that they were giving him game start before he even walked on the court, and the match was over after a set and a break because they didn't believe they had any chance of coming back. And I think now the feeling is a bit different. And he has dropped from #1 to 2. Huge drop. But it is in terms of how dominant he was.
$0-15.
That's their 11th meeting, but the first time that these two have ever squared off on a clay court. Which has won their last 7. The last 3 months of 2008 off to rehab and strengthen his shoulder. And, really has tried to cut down on his schedule this year, trying to protect it. Just feel that Federer's defence actually will be the key thing in this match, that he'll be able to get enough balls back in the court to allow Haas to miss, as much as he's so impressive when he's on the front foot. Or number 2, it's also his defensive skills that have kept him at the top of the game for so long.
Trente.
Federer not accepting the umpire's version of where the mark was there. Lost out.
Quarante-30.
Did look wide.
Well, I think he's going to get the umpire down again. Would have taken a brave umpire to have called that one in as well.
To remember the classic.
Federer and the umpire having a harmonious relationship again.
40.
So a bit of pressure already on the German serve.
Avantage Haas.
No arguments about that one. Another ace for Haas, and his first serve really keeping him just ahead of Federer at the moment.
Il est premier service. Je Haas. Deux jeux partout.
Always important to stay with a player like Federer early on. Increases your own level of belief, and Tommy Haas doing a good job there. You can really sense the sort of unexpected today, haven't you? Because for the first time, really, the crowd sort of sitting and watching a match thinking, well, I wonder if I am watching this year's champion. Whereas up till now, you always get the sense everyone's watching these matches thinking, well, who's going to sort of play for Nadal next?
Zero.
I was just looking up at the stadium. It is a bizarre thing that at some of these stadium courts around the world, when you look up at the flags and you see the wind going in one direction at the top of the stadium, but down on court level, it's actually going the other way.
Yeah, if you look at the flags right now, it looks like the wind is coming with Federer. And it's actually, if you look at the net, it's actually going with Tommy Haas. That's why he mistimed that last backhand. He was waiting for the ball to come to him, and of course it blew towards the net. Oh, lovely shot. Started using that shot a lot more, really since Madrid. It seems to have added that shot to the Federer repertoire. Has every shot in the book, but he's never really used that one. But started in Madrid. I think he was preparing that for when he would play Nadal. Well, of course, doesn't need that anymore from that point, but he's going to use it anyway. Yeah, that's the reaction. But the wind's been difficult almost every day since the tournament's begun, so it's not like it's a change Tommy Haas, I always felt a little bit unfortunate in some ways to be in that era after the great sort of German era with Becker, Stieck and Steffi Graf, and him and Nicholas Kiefer came in as juniors, and of course the German press obviously thought, well, these were the next ones that were going to win the Wimbledons and the US Opens, and even though they've both been tremendous players, by the standards that were set before them, they were a letdown. And I think there was a lot of, sort of pressure put on. And I think Tommy Haas and Nicholas Kiefer felt that pressure in a lot of ways.
Yes, I think Wawrinka, for a large part, has actually handled being the #2 Swiss male player very well, because it can't be easy for him. I mean, no, you measured against somebody that's rewriting the history books virtually every year, and you can win tournaments and you can be top 10, and it's like, well, right, it's not good enough.
No, exactly. It's like in the men's side in British tennis, we've had Fred Perry from all those years ago, and until someone wins a singles Grand Slam on the men's side, that's going to be still the name that you're going to be is out there to try and sort of emulate or get close to. Forehand seems to really be on today.
Yeah, when he gets in these types of points at the moment, it only looks like there's going to be one winner. But Haas serving beautifully at the moment. 75% of his first serves finding the target, and that is what is keeping him competitive.
Second
service game in a row for Haas, that he's trailed 15-30. Cracks appearing in his defences.
Brave second serve.
30.
Shot not good enough, paid the price.
Really should have done more there. Didn't get that out wide enough. So they're not really having to move that far to get in position to hit the backhand pass. They're not going to give Federer that much time. rally that one. Federer with a good opportunity to just watch it. With the Tommy Haas's ground strokes, they tend to come at a nice height for Federer to deal with. It's not really jumping up high enough to get Federer really in much problem on the backhand side. Serving awfully well though today.
Partout.
Serving well, but not returning quite as well as he needs to right now. Yet to get a point off Federer's serve. Well, he's fighting. He's trying to stay in here, Haas, but you really get the sense that it's only a matter of time before Federer makes his move.
One-two punch. Good first serve. That return in those areas is going to get burned.
Zero.
15 points in a row. Nice to start a match like that.
I wonder what it feels like.
Federer.
For perfect holds for Roger Federer.
31 years of age, serving at 3-4 with new balls. Just his second fourth round here for Haas. The match they played in Australia in 2006, it was in the fourth round. It went 5 sets, and Haas's attitude going into that match that day was in your face. I'm not going to be overawed by the name. Boy, did he give it a go.
He nearly did it. Yeah, it was fantastic tennis. You don't get to number 2 in the world, you know, without being a very good player.
Unseeded Haas, ranked 63 to Federer's 2. That's because of a lot of the injury problems, of course. Would have given him love 30, and it was the right choice, wasn't it?
I can't believe he missed it. Nor can he, I'm sure.
The inevitable question, Joe.
Yeah.
The mindset, not only of Federer, but the rest of the men in the draw, with the news from yesterday of Nadal being beaten.
It was astonishing, wasn't it? And everyone's still talking about it. So every single one of them think I had no chance really to win it against Nadal, and here every chance now. Not saying Federer doesn't think he has a chance, but you know, he's beaten Nadal on clay. But you know, his reputation is just so astonishing.
Yeah. Maybe a few restless nights for the men left in the draw. compared to a night ago. Bit short to the Haas forehand, that's dangerous.
40-15.
Yeah, he's going to deal with these very well. That's where he wants the ball. Shoulder height, he can get onto it.
That's the way to get to Federer, isn't it? Punish those backhands. The topspin ones that do land short. And predominantly play to it too. Good game from Haas.
Yeah, and I think everybody feeling that Federer is so vulnerable at the moment. Everybody thinks they have a chance against him now.
It's been interesting to watch Federer's matches in this tournament, what he's been practicing and looking to use.
Yeah.
You think for Nadal,
yes,
that's gone now.
More drop shots, wasn't it?
Yeah, short balls and. And a bit more of that coming in. Be interesting whether he maintains that or whether he just goes out and plays like he's always done, really, and not giving it that much thought.
But using his forehand, and in this wind you have to take such great care at the moment. Anything that is just hovering in the air.
Just moves so well, doesn't he?
30-0.
Nadal was asked if now he's been beaten, would he like to see Federer win it? He said, well, he's been in the final that many times, lost to me in the semis the year before. If anybody was to win it, yeah, why not Roger?
40-0.
There'll be millions echoing those sentiments. Many would love to see Federer win the French Open.
Federer.
And a love game to get a game away from this opening set. No breaks, remember, as yet, after half an hour. Federer 5-4. Court filling nicely. Certainly not the corporate seats, but you wouldn't expect that at lunchtime in Paris.
15-0.
David Mercer, who'll be coming in with Fru McMillan for the second set, and thereafter has just let us know that Federer, at the moment, hasn't dropped a point on serve.
Wow.
Puts a bit of pressure on you holding, doesn't it?
I think so.
30-0.
But Haas has just got to keep his head down and forget about that. Just keep working.
Doing a pretty good job of it, Haas too. Just a break point, remember? In the 3-2 game, or 2-3 game.
I'm amazed that Haas can move as well as he does. He's had both ankles broken, was that right?
Both ankles
operated
broken. Both ankles requiring surgery.
It's incredible.
Shoulder injury more than once.
Yep.
Surgery. I think he's quite literally sewn and bolted together.
Yes.
But what an appetite still to play this great game.
Haas.
But I can understand it because, you know, what other job is he going to go into where he can stand out here and get the thrill? It's scary and it's fantastic at the same time with the crowd cheering you on, playing against the top in the world. You're going to try and hang on for as long as you can.
And you look at his body, how fit he is. He's 31 years of age, but
15-0.
total dedication from the German. 4 years. Very popular wherever he plays too. 11 titles for Haas in his career. Still hasn't dropped a point.
Amazing.
He'll want to win the first set with a stat like that. Off the front foot, like he is for passing shots. His backhand is a magnificent sight.
Yep.
40-0.
Well, got away with that let call, but then tries the same one again. Flicks it down there.
Je
24 love on service points. 6 love games and a 6-5 lead.
Par 6-5.
So beautifully crafted.
He is a beautiful player, isn't he?
0-15.
That's the way of putting it. So graceful in everything he does.
Talk about keeping your focus. Haas has to be right there, every single point. Cleverly moving that second serve around. Sometimes good to serve at the strength of a person just to keep them honest. Two chances to take the first set into a tie-break. Magnificent hitting, so strong off both wings. It's just a joy to watch his backhand too. It is a tie-break. You mentioned that match where they went to 5 sets and Haas was really showing his emotions. Look at him now, he's so calm.
Yeah.
Playing within himself, actually. Not worried about Federer's end of the court, just doing his thing.
And competing very well. Federer's played 2 breakers in the tournament, won them both. It was in the second round against Akasuso. Remember, he was 1-5, a double breakdown in the set, the third set in that match, Federer. Haas has played just the one and won that in the tournament. And he's won against the head straight away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's two gifts.
2-0. As.
Forehand can be wayward. Seen that a lot in the tournament. Just as well he didn't have a middle name. Interesting that.
I was just trying to see if the racket went over the net.
Yeah, likewise. He was perilously close to the net.
As soon as the ball's come across your side of the net, you can swing over the net.
Well, Cardanudi in the chair, and the reason the umpire's chair is where it is for exactly that eventuality.
Yes. I think just, obviously.
On the big points, he always looks to be urgent with his feet and around the forehand to release it, but it's tight again, that forehand.
No, well, you know, kind of understand the misses when he's being threatened, but a half-court ball like that.
Half chance there for Haas. It wasn't the most assured point again from Federer.
Huge long slide into it. Eyes looking at all the possibilities, then glued to the ball. Saw a great poster earlier, someone was holding up saying, "Shh, genius at work." With the Swiss colours on it.
That's a really good point. The serve and then the follow-up forehand, keeping Federer under pressure.
Just taking such great care of his movement and the way he's hitting the ball at the moment. Haas, it's so solid.
Well, it's Vorsprung Dirk technique at the moment, isn't it? So precise.
Yes. Well, it's a long swing, and quite often you get the miss hits, especially when there's a bit of tension in the air.
Well, a lot of pressure now for Federer to win these 2 points on serve. Remember, he hadn't dropped a point on serve into the tie-break until the opening point, that was.
As. 5-4. As.
So 2 quick points and pressure's flipped back down the other end of the court.
You'd imagine he'd look for serve to backhand, followed by forehand. Haas here, his own forehand. Didn't need the forehand. 2 set points now.
6-4. As. Il est premier service.
Wow. Nadal beaten middle Sunday. Federer second Monday. After 47 minutes, Haas takes the opening set. 7-6. It'll be David and Fru next.
Well, good afternoon from me, David Mercer, and from Fru McMillan as we pick up the commentary. Haas serving at the start of the second set. Well, that for sure, Fru, is going to be a quiz question, isn't it? Who won 6 love service games in a set and still lost it?
Most unusual. A lot of it was due to good serving, but I also thought Haas chose the wrong tactic, trying to drive back a lot of the Federer serves rather than chip them and get into the point. But then Federer, an awful tiebreaker by his standards. Usually at majors, he is almost unbeatable in tiebreakers.
Second match in a row that Federer has dropped the opening set. Paul-Henri Mathieu, of course, on Saturday, and had that right-hand battle against Jose Acasuso before that. Could so easily been down 2-1.
Haas served well against Shardy, the Frenchman, in the last round, and I think has served very well here. Serve over the years has been a bit up and down.
Wow. Super second serve, not an ace, obviously. You heard the snick.
40-15.
Getting a fair amount of bounce as well, at times travelling Federer. It's finally turned up.
Guillermo Villas. And that's more like the forehands we're used to from Federer. So a good opening game for Tommy Haas in the second set.
Premier jeu. Deuxième manche.
Hasn't beaten Federer since the Australian Open in 2002, Haas. And that was 8-6 in the fifth. Since then they've played 7 times, Federer winning them all. Mind you, the last one was some time ago, over 2 years ago in Dubai in the semi-finals. 6-4, 7-5, and they've never met on clay.
Well, that's excellent serving stats by Haas. Not so good actually from Federer, 55%. He's usually way up in the 60s, but 24 straight points on serve. Who can detract from that? Yes, it sounds very demoralizing having lost to Federer so many straight times, and as David says, never having beaten him since 2002. But I know that when Haas goes on court against Federer, he actually feels he can win, and that makes so much difference. You might say, where does that feeling come from? And I think it's just pugnacity and the fact too that at times he's pushed Federer. For instance, in the 06 Australian Open, Federer won in 5.
40-0.
So a 6 ace for Federer. One ahead in that particular race, but of course one set behind in the one that really matters.
Federer.
That's 7 love service games, and yet he's a set down. It's ludicrous.
Oh, I suppose you can blame Jimmy Van Allen from that, the man who introduced the tie-break system. But that kick serve, Federer used well in his last 2 matches, and I think it's a very important serve to have here. Using it on the first serve, it really takes people out of court. Gets a lot of bounce with it.
This is interesting, a change of racket. It's not new balls. We've got one more game with the old balls before we change them.
That's typical of him.
Oh, lovely skills from the 31-year-old.
Yes, he's not known for soft hands, Haas. And even though he's got a better backhand, he would have, I think he's done a better job with the forehand half volley than he might have done with the backhand.
30-0.
Well, it was a fine approach shot and just that much better from Federer. Getting the angle, Haas on the stretch really had to dive, in fact, in order to make that. Well, a non-percentage play, better drop shotting into the wind. It's difficult to read the wind down there. It is actually blowing from the east towards the umpire. And one thing Haas has not done well in this match is lobbed. Each time he's lobbed very short. Again, a reflection of the lack of real feel, that half volley drop shot notwithstanding.
Now that Federer had the only chance to break in the first set, couldn't take it. Here's an opportunity, of course, against Pulmonary Mature. When he dropped the first set, he raced back and took the second 6-1. There's the breakthrough.
Federer mène par 2-1.
2-1 to Federer, second set. So Federer has finally achieved the first break of serve of the match after some 58 minutes. Set down to Tommy Haas, but now break up in the second. New balls, and remember he's still, apart from in the tie break of course, hasn't dropped a point on his own serve. It was very noticeable in Madrid and again here, through how much more he's drop shotting.
Yes, and reflecting my point about the forehand drop shot being the shot of the tournament. Played a few of them, played them very well. I think it was all part of a tactic really on how to take on Nadal. Doesn't necessarily apply anymore, of course.
Well, Haas had a great opportunity there to break his duck. I mean, I'm sure Roger's trying to put it out of his mind that Nadal's out, but everybody, I think, apart from those associated with the other guys left in the tournament, are saying, surely this is Federer's chance now.
Certainly got a great one. Needs to play better than he has in this match.
$40-0.
Winner of this will play either Gael Monfils or Andy Roddick, who will meet later today. The last match on the Suzanne Longnon court. I'm sure we'll be featuring that later on in our coverage here on Eurosport. Of course, no breaks for cycling today for our international viewers because, of course, the Tour of Italy is over the Giro.
He's won one.
Well, Federer's lost one. It's my legal background, through. I'm boringly pedantic on these things.
Federer.
But Federer consolidates the break. And about an Ebola hat.
Federer mène par 3-1.
Panama's much to the fore in the presidential tribune.
Il est premier service. Il est premier service.
Like to hear the umpire's voice if he does it again.
I'd just like to hear Kadir Nooni's voice at any time.
Reminds you of Bryn Tervel, does he?
Yes, it certainly does. The great opera singer from Wales.
Or Geraint Evans.
No, Geraint was a tenor.
Oh, he's a singer.
Yes. Was, sadly, no longer with us.
Well, Haas losing it a bit here. You should know the significance, really, of trying to maintain a lead over Federer. He's got to get back into this somehow, otherwise Federer's confidence surely will, if not rocket, increase.
$40-30.
6'2" of Haas, and he gets a good high ball toss, and as a result gets that good high bounce, which is really difficult for Federer to do much with.
Well, important for Haas to win that game, stay in touch at least with Federer. in this second set.
Federer mène par 3 jeux à 2.
3-2, Federer leads.
Reprise.
Bring you up to date with match over on the Suzanne Longlong court. Tommy Robredo has an early advantage over Philip Kohlschreiber. 3-1 to the Spaniard. Winner of that, of course, will play, to my mind, the most intriguing match of the day, the one that will follow this. Juan Martín del Potro against Joe Wilfried Tsonga. Fascinating battle that will be. At least you expect it to be.
Oh. 15-0.
Again, not an ace. It seemed to sort of fly off the line, that one.
Yes, there have been some tricky bounces. All getting up irregularly high.
Installez-vous s'il vous plaît dans l'axe du court, merci.
Yes, there's someone suddenly coming into one of the hospitality boxes and needs to sit down pronto. Not least because one of them has got a very bright yellow hat on. There we go. Yeah, just sit down, sir.
30-0.
Through this is my 25th Roland Garros. I can't remember the centre court being harder than this and the high bounces.
Yeah, yeah.
And if this good weather continues, it's playing really like a hard court.
40-0.
It's playing pretty quickly. It's with a lot of wind, it does sweep a lot of the sand off the surface, but that's not the case here. Looking at it today, there's quite a bit more sand. There's not the patches of smoothness that you often see on the court.
Well, where's the peripheral vision, Roger? He was just standing there waiting for that, but I guess at 40 love, maybe you're not completely focused.
No, and Haas too, keeping it low. Haas is probably his forte, that backhand down the line.
Je, Federer.
Ace number 7.
Federer mène par 4 jeux à 2.
Moving on at quite a pace, aren't they? Always likely, I suppose, with these two men are likely to be long, extended rallies. I'm sure it's rather different between Robredo and Kohlschreiber, but it's still 3-1 to Robredo.
We'll wonder.
Yes, the request has been made for Kadir Nouni to go and have a look, but I don't think he's very optimistic because he's already on the other side of the court. Well, Kadir took his time finding the mark, but it says it was wide.
15-0. There's
There's an interesting one earlier today in the women's match, not that it affected the result, but where the ball clearly cleaned the line and the umpire examined a mark about a yard away.
Goes back to what I was saying, suggesting the other day.
Namely that the line judge should have identified the right mark.
Well, that the umpire should ask the linesman to come and identify a mark while the umpire keeps his eye on that mark, because by getting off the chair it must be very difficult really to keep your eye centered on the mark.
The ace from Haas, a love game for him, but Federer still has the lead in the break.
Federer mène par 4 jeux à 3.
4-3. You're watching day 9 of Roland Garros with Fru McMillan and myself, David Mercer. Already through today, Serena Williams and Svetlana Kuznetsova both through to the quarterfinals. which will begin tomorrow. Roger Federer set down to Tommy Haas, but 4-3 up and serving.
Good anticipation by Federer, just so well played by Haas. A lot of spin on it, keeping it low.
Gaza.
Oh, what an opportunity, because the anticipation, like Federer's, was perfect. Federer had the option really of playing this forehand anywhere. Haas guessing right.
You saw from the flags that once again the wind is, well, reasonably strong. I think it was 16, 17 kilometers an hour. And I don't think Federer can blame that miss on the wind. It's the first time he's lost 2 points on a service game, Federer. So a little bit of pressure here. And now for the first time in the match, Haas with a break point.
Yes, Federer not totally committing to that, looking to play the shot and move back to the center of the court at the same time. You know, if he commits to the forehand, he can do so much damage with it. Sometimes hardly need worry about getting back to the center.
It's wide. Well. Haas breaks.
4 jeux partout.
Yes, one of the longer rallies of the match, 13 strokes, and I think Haas playing it wisely, hitting the ball hard, but giving himself plenty of margin, chiefly because he'd seen Federer miss-hit a couple, and therefore perhaps Federer the more likely to miss-hit.
So 4-all.
Well, Haas just had to stretch a little bit more than he anticipated here. Really should have won the point. Just given a bit more and he would have been able to play a very, very powerful cross-court volley. Instead of which, because of the stretch, really couldn't give it the full weight of his body or racket. Might remember that should he drop his serve here.
He's going to have to dig deep now, Federer. Making so many errors, really. Well placed in that rally.
Yes, it's a straightforward mistake.
The opening was there down the line. Didn't really hit it that hard. A little bit of nerves in the Haas serve suddenly. A little tighter.
40-15.
Well, the crowd desperate to get behind Federer now. Way below his best. Haas continuing to serve well. 3 games in a row for the German. And Haas now leads by 5 games to 4. Well, now Roger Federer needs to hold serve to stay in the second set and to avoid going down 2 sets to love. Oh my, it's all happening at Roland Garros this year. Very difficult to play those drive returns with the ball up as high as that. It's a non-percentage shot really by Haas. He knows with Federer making the mistakes now, he's got to get the ball in court. Well, he's tried the short shot, the drop shot a few times as Haas, but there was no great success. Not reading the wind well enough. This ball's not being held up, so reasonably comfortable for Federer, but at least he's middling that forehand. So an 8th love service game of the match for Roger Federer, which would suggest, I suppose, that bare statistic that he's playing really well, but he isn't. No, it's a case of good serving with some poor choice of stroke play by Haas on the Federer serve. Haas has been serving well, which has enabled him to win as many of his service games as he has. Has dropped the 1 serve.
$15-0.
And Federer expecting it to come back to him, as you would expect really of him. Can't blame him for that, not changing his position on the return of serve. Handled Haas so many times before. He expects it to happen automatically, I think.
40-0.
Love game for Haas. And Federer all over the shop.
As mène par 6 jeux à 5.
And Haas leads by a set and 6-5. Tell you that Tommy Robredo is about to serve for the first set against Philip Kohlschreiber at 5-4. But here, well, we thought we couldn't get much more drama than yesterday when not only, of course, Rafael Nadal went out, but the ladies' champion as well, Anna Ivanovic. Andy Murray made it to the quarters for the first time. There's a real prospect, the way he's playing at the moment, the Federer could go out as well. No, it's long.
Well, almost drawn in there, Haas, but at least he played a very crisp low backhand. Thought Federer had made it, but it just long.
Terrible choice of shot, poor execution, the drop shot, and lo and behold, Federer in deep trouble.
A good play by Haas, really, using that favourite shot of his, not trying for anything too fancy, just getting that right shoulder in position, keeping the ball in play, just stretching Federer that little bit. Federer needs his first serve big time, as they say.
His 8th ace. Just wide. We're absolutely straight down that line, aren't we, through? And he thought, oh, it's going to go in. And no, it didn't quite come round enough.
Brilliant shot. But nine out of 10, but sometimes you deserve, you have to be 10 out of 10 against Federer. Let him in. Gave Federer another opportunity,
which he couldn't take, and it's that sort of a day for Federer. Nadal admitting he was way below his best yesterday. Federer way below his best today, and lo and behold, Tommy Haas with set point for 2 sets to love.
Oh, would you believe it? Wondering how far out, but it's as good as a mile, isn't it?
Somewhat tentative shot, wasn't it, off a second serve on break point.
Got up high. I think he probably played the right shot just to get it back into court. Or try to. And that's a lucky return by Haas. Really lucky.
Avantage, Haas.
What choice of shot does he use now? Should it be a second serve from Federer?
Merci.
Would you believe it? Another error on the Federer forehand. And he's 2 sets to love down. What a tournament this is turning into.
Does Haas. I think Haas just has a little bit more belief at this level of a major than perhaps Burdick had when he had that 2 sets to love lead.
Troisième manche, au service de Tommy Haas.
Third set then, new balls in play. Haas leading by 2 sets to love.
15-0.
Well, he must have gone in search of unforced errors when he went for his break as well, Federer, apart from any call of nature. And that'll certainly help the Haas feel-good factor further here, because he really had to stretch for this. Federer might well have got back into the point. Is that going to be a sign of what Federer intends doing more of? Coming in, try and shorten the points, not have to play as many shots off the ground.
Well, Haas playing with all the confidence you would expect when you're 2 sets to love up. Love game. He's won his last
Troisième manche.
2 service games to love. All right, you're in Roger Federer's shoes. What do you got to do?
Just got to cut out the unforced errors. You know, go back to basics somehow. The wind, of course, playing a slight role here, but nevertheless, it's much more Federer of well, the recent couple of years, the US Open apart, with those mistakes. Well, I think they're very lenient with the unforced errors. They have been throughout this tournament with the players. Maybe they're allowing for the wind.
Oh my.
0-15.
But he shows no signs of sort of reining himself back in, does he? He's still going for shots as if, well, it's bound to happen for me sooner or later.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that he's right to do so. You've got to find a plan B.
Oh, it's on the line, surely.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll change his luck.
His wife will certainly be hoping so. Merker. Now heavily pregnant, of course.
Right shot by Haas.
30-15.
not a shot that he can necessarily rely on, but I think it's better playing that shot than trying to drive that. And you're a little out of position.
$40-15.
Of course, any short ball will help Federer if his idea is to try and get in quite a bit more.
Federer.
It's funny, isn't it? Because yesterday with Nadal, when he won the second set, we thought, oh, he'll be fine. And then when he went 2-love up in the fourth set, we thought, oh, he'll be fine. And today, when Federer got there for the first break and was ahead 4-2 in that second set, we thought, he'll be fine.
Yes, different circumstances. I think we expected, at least I did, I expected Söderling just to go off the boil. And to give him all due, he didn't. Nadal, yes, may have been not quite himself, but I think in many respects he wasn't able to be. Whereas here today, it's not a case of Haas playing an absolute blinder. It's really a case of Haas serving well and playing pretty well, but Federer really off form, at least off the ground. And Haas has got power on both sides. When he's at his best, he's very difficult to deal with. 3 times a semi-finalist at the Australian Open.
That's when he's lost 13 points on serve, Haas. There was a real slump of the shoulders there from Federer.
30-0.
Crowd a little mystified.
I think Federer thinks that's wide, and Haas is clearly not certain. Nope. Fair enough, he says. And it goes down as a 7th ace.
40-0.
Just came over a little soon. Fine second serve by Haas. It's been a feature that's good serving. And at the moment he's keeping up a pretty good length on his ground strokes. Pretty essential to keep Federer at bay.
It was onto the line, but Haas was able to put the pass away easily.
As mène par 2-1.
2-1 in the third. At the moment, they're on serve in the second set between Robredo and Kohlschreiber. 2-1 to Kohlschreiber in the second set. Robredo at 40-15 on his serve. But all attention focused on this court. And the question, can Roger Federer keep alive his dream of winning the French Open, because it's probably unwise to say it, but if he can't win now with both Nadal and Djokovic out of the tournament, surely he'll never win.
Well, those were significant statistics there, weren't they? The unforced error count of Federer, particularly on that forehand side.
15-0.
That's where he's got to look to control things more. Last two games have looked good.
Beautifully done.
Well, it could be the best all-round tennis of the match now, with Federer charging back and Haas looking confident. That was a fine backhand slice by Haas. Quick thinking by Federer.
Zero.
Still a good view from back there.
Not a good drop shot there.
40-15.
Yes, the dimensions here at Roland Garros of the Chatrier court, nowhere near that of the Arthur Ashe Stadium court in New York.
Just hear the crowd, can't you? Willing Federer to get back into this one.
2 partout.
Yes, if you're ever offered a back row seat at Flushing Meadows, A, you better have a head for heights, B, you better take your parachute, and C, certainly take a pair of binoculars.
And your vertigo pills.
Yes.
I like the way he finished off that point, Federer, because it wasn't a slam dunk of a forehand. It was just nicely controlled. That might help his cause.
15-0.
Only won 1 point against the Haas serve in this set.
Haas's footwork is absolutely brilliant at the moment. Just getting those feet into position, which so helps the shot. Excellent balance. Amazing how it can sometimes just all come together. Better right now than it has been throughout the match. Somehow Federer's got to break it down. Can't settle him.
$30-15.
just landing way too short from Federer, allowing Haas to
40-15.
attack off it, just as Akisusu was doing when it looked as if the Argentine was going to go up 2-1 against Federer. But the big difference now is, of course, Haas is up 2-0.
Good second serve, just in case Federer was going to look to run around the kicker to the backhand.
3-2 then, Haas. Oh, could we have another massive story? Nadal yesterday, Federer down 2 sets today, and 2-3. And that forehand was perilously close to missing.
15-0.
Still on serve at the Suzanne Lenglen in the second set. 3-2 Kohlschreiber. First set, Robredo 6-4. That's even more perilously close.
Yes, outside of the line probably. He's just making those, but I think they're actually very well controlled shots. Yes, he's cutting it fine, but there's no semblance of a mishit about them. And that, I think, is encouraging for Federer.
Oh, Roger, what were you thinking of?
He's thinking of teaching Haas how to lob. Whereas he had an easy shot here by his standards. Could have driven it either side of Haas. Still pretty acrobatic of Haas. Could have torn all kinds of muscles trying that.
Ivan Lendl wouldn't have gone either side. He'd have gone straight through him.
As Nadal did yesterday. Oh, first blemish.
30.
Yeah, and suddenly that fancy shot at 30 love. The crowd sense it. They're so nervous. They're so anxious for Federer. Oh, my word.
40-30.
It could so easily have dribbled over.
Well, I encourage Haas at many times to slice the ball back, but there he had the option of using either, and I think that was the right shot.
Huge sense of relief as he comes through that service game.
3 partout.
He's got to start making some sort of impact on the Haas serves. 2 points won against the Haas serve in this set. And the interesting thing now is, as you've been hinting, Haas is probably playing better now than at any time in the match.
Yes, yes. much more controlled, and it's controlled power. The sort of stuff that, as you said, Akasusa was able to deliver. It's not easy to deal with. Federer can't match that power on his backhand side unless it's a ball about waist height.
30-0.
And he's serving well as I've seen Haas serve. And we've seen him on Eurosport over the years, time and time again.
His 8th ace.
Well, it was all a matter of decision making, and Federer's decision here was that Haas was not going to use his favourite down the line. He was going to go cross court. Federer putting himself into position. Backhand has been less wayward than the forehand for the Swiss. Not a shot to encourage. Yes, he won it the last time he played. The only time I think he's won it was the time before last. And at 30-15, it's just non-percentage. Gives Federer breathing space.
Well, you understand his frustration. You thought that's one sitting up nicely. Big Federer forehand coming up. There haven't been many big Federer forehands in this match.
Well, his screen was so wide you could count every tooth in his mouth, I think. Real pain felt there by Federer.
Head down, shoulders slumped. Federer so far below his best form. It's 4-3 Haas. Two sets to love down, 3-4 down. Federer serving.
Soft hands just caressing this after the big blow from Haas. Haas is just hitting big, hardly miss hitting at all. Even the last point of the last game, Haas very good in defense, using that backhand slice when he was not in a position to drive. A lot has been asked of Federer, and he, of course, usually responds.
Are so nervous for Federer, aren't they? They thought that loopy big forehand he played was going to go out. And
yes, fine point with Haas playing his role, but the reaction from Federer after winning this just shows.
30.
Well, he's void of a big first serve in this game. He's tried the kicker, missed that. Can he stand and deliver?
Well, it's certainly now or never, isn't it? No, missed it by a mile.
30, 40.
And here is Tommy Haas with a break point to leave him to serve for the match.
They can't even summon up the strength to applaud.
Right, I mean, that's the shot he's been going for, missing with regularity.
Is that courage?
40.
It is brute courage. That must be so uplifting. Haas has got to shrug it off.
And another primeval roar from Federer. This time in of approval, of course, rather than despair.
Avantage, Federer.
Well, if, and of course it is still a huge if, Federer comes back to win this match, we will all remember that forehand. I mean, Haas is still the red-hot favourite to win. He's played by far the better. But it's not a mere mortal down the other end of the court, it's Federer.
Yes, can Haas keep it up?
Merci.
Can he keep up the very high serving standard?
Les joueurs sont prêts, merci. .015.
Haas looking up at the wind. He, a bit like that at times. Not enough credit to the opponent. Will look for the odd excuse.
Missed it. Half the crowd thought he'd made it, but he hasn't.
15.
Yes, he could have pushed the ball back in, but such is his belief in himself that he feels he can play the into out, he can play the one down the line. Of course, as a rule, he can play anything. Second fiddle in an orchestra. Well, you've got to give it to Haas.
30-15.
Just relentless.
Of course, we forget sometimes that Tommy was ranked 2 in the world. What might he have achieved if the body hadn't constantly let him down, particularly the shoulder? Same old story, I'm afraid, for Federer. Missed forehands.
A rarity.
40-30.
What a lot of people, of course, might have expected, as they expected Söderling to start missing yesterday. Haas that much more experience than the Swede.
Starting to miss a few more first serves now, Haas. Oh. And that's only the second double of the match.
40.
It must be awful when you serve a double and the crowd explodes in joy.
Yeah, this could be breakthrough time for Federer, should Haas not find his serve. Got to get good height in the ball toss, reach up for it.
Missed it. And it's break point for Federer. Don't remember when he last won 3 straight points on the Haas serve. Long, long time ago.
Avantage Federer.
In fact, when he broke to lead 2-1 in the second set.
Well, he knows he needs a big first serve. He knows what happens the last time he served to the side and missed the first serve. So is it a 3/4 pace? He's got to go for it, I think. You can't afford to let up against a player like Federer.
Oh, he had it. It was on his racket. What a miss by Haas. And Federer breaks, and he will serve for the third set. Extraordinary scenes here. This is how people were greeting that incredible missed forehand volley from Haas. I mean, just too big a swing.
Yes, whether he was expecting the backhand, but he seemed to be onto it. Just didn't give any of the bottom edge of the racket. It was a very flat face to the ball. But what a point. What a sensational lob by Federer. That was the shot that saved it for him.
Well, he was up a break, of course. Let's not forget, in set 2. Ninth ace, first of the set for Federer.
15-0.
Well, they're big on the Mexican wave here, but this is a massive wave of support, the sort of size you find off Hawaii.
Oh, brilliant from Haas. And after Federer pulled off a miracle shot, picking up that net cord.
Yes, that is an almost impossible shot to make of Federer's. Haas's best lob of the match.
Bad choice. Surely he should have blasted that one. 2 set points for Federer.
40-15.
The foothills have been scaled. The fight back has started. But there are steep slopes still ahead here. Federer wins the third set, 6-4. But Haas leads by 2 sets to 1.
Haas mène par 2 manches.
Let me tell you that over on the Suzanne Lenglen court, Tommy Robredo and Philipp Kohlschreiber, 5 all and 15 all, now 15-30 on the Kohlschreiber serve in the second set. Robredo taking the first 6-4. We'll keep you obviously acquainted with what's going on over there. But for the moment, I'm sure you would want us to continue to focus on Roger Federer and Tommy Haas. Set number 4 then.
Well, Haas is great serving, and I mean it was outstanding serving of early on, just letting him down in that last service game of his. The double fault, of course, at game point to him. Pretty, as it turned out, disastrous in the end. When Federer came back against Burdick at the Australian, he won 4-4-2 in sets 3, 4 and 5.
And an early opening here for Federer.
You're still ahead, but the darts are there. When you're up against somebody as great as Federer.
What a difference a first serve makes.
Federer's beaten Haas the last 7 times they've met. Career, Federer 8, Haas twice. Haas beat him in the Olympics in 2000 and then again in the Australian Open of 2002.
Premier service.
Well, needed those 2 first serves, Haas.
Merci.
Has he missed another one? He has. Another forehand volley blown.
And it gives Federer a break point.
Played that one a lot more soundly, but hit it wide.
Suddenly Federer's on a roll, 4 games in a row. Early doors in the 4th set, but
Premier jeu, 4e manche.
Suddenly the odds on a Federer comeback from 2 sets to love have shortened dramatically.
I think he's on his way, chiefly because he's not making the unforced errors. He's middling the ball a lot better, and Haas now has got serious doubts. Again, Haas, only his fault there, but looking at the court, looking for something other than himself.
I think the fact that Federer's unforced errors 7, and there were very few towards the end of that set, wasn't it?
And also the Haas first serve percentage, where it had been a lot higher, really slumping towards the end of the set. It wasn't just a matter of getting them in, he was getting them in with direction and power.
15-0.
Haas thinks it's conspiracy. Now the lines are suddenly being hit by Federer.
Come on, baby! $40-0.
Federer backs up the break with a love game. His 10th ace.
Federer mène par 2-0.
And whilst the camera concentrates on him, Haas is still looking at marks. Got to tell himself he's still ahead.
5 games in a row for Roger Federer. And the first of them, of course, was when he was break point down and hit that forehand winner. Oh boy. And suddenly it's Haas who's missing and Federer who isn't. It's total role reversal.
Swiss roll, I'm not sure what the German equivalent is.
Oh my word.
He's got to find a forehand volley from somewhere. This is going to put him off coming into the net.
0-30.
It's like tying one hand behind the back. 2 tried cross court, missed. 1 tried with the off volley, missed.
Oh, Haas is collapsing in a heap.
0-40.
Haas will probably revert to drop shots at some stage and try and convey the thought that he's going to save himself for the 5th. Try and tire Federer out.
15-40.
His 9th ace.
Well done.
Well, great effort from Haas here. If you can limit it to just the 1 break, who knows? Remember, he was down a break early in set 2 and came back. 2 breaks and this set was done and dusted.
Avantage Federer.
Not that fine attention to detail anymore from Haas. He's letting it slip. Fine recovery with the big serves. Imperative that he stays in this game and wins it.
But
Got sharp eyes, hasn't he, kid? And he's calling before the line judge. Well, if that was intended, and I have a feeling it might have been, that's a shot of sheer genius from a sheer genius.
0-40.
Where Roger Federer, as if it's going to be a love set. He's got love 40 at 4-love on the Haas serve. Haas, as Fred McMillan was saying, surely conserving his energies now for set 5.
15-40.
With Svetlana, Federer held serve to 15 to go up 4-love.
Trente, 40. Filet, premier service. Out.
Well, second time in the set, and second time in a row actually, that Haas has come from love 40 down. Trouble is, last time he still lost his serve.
Yes, threw in a double fault.
Avantage, Federer.
Heart and mind, of course, not solely in this. It'll come and go, the concentration from Haas.
So he does it again. Comes from love 40 back to deuce, but loses his serve, and Federer's streak is now up to 8. 8 straight games for Roger Federer.
Par 5-0.
So Roger Federer coming out to serve for set number 4. 5-love in front.
Yeah, I imagine he's just going to go and look for big shots here, Haas. Because really what he wants to do is start serving the beginning of the 5th. So in many ways, it's better for Haas, for Federer to win this game.
Reminder, of course, that the 5th set is an advantage set, no tie breaks.
15.
So certainly if it becomes a tight set, a huge advantage to be serving first in it. No more than a cursory look at the line from Haas. Well, 2 hours and 32 minutes only, and here we are at the end of the 4th. Which does go to Federer, 6 games to love.
S'il vous plaît.
Well, so important for Haas that he wins this game. He's lost the last 9.
15-0. 30-0.
And just like yesterday afternoon when Söderling was putting out Nadal, we've reached the time of day where the place is packed. Just one Haas needed. A love game.
Premier jeu. Dernière manche.
Yes, it's a matter of what damage has been done to the Haas mind. 2 hours 30, well, it's not that extreme for these players, even though Haas, of course, is that much less tennised because of his injuries over the last couple of years than Federer. But those are good signs for Haas, that first game.
To a certain extent, I'm not sure how relevant the 4-set statistics are.
No unforced errors from Federer?
Yeah. Didn't have too much to beat once he got the second break. But we shall see. This is what really matters, right here and now. Oh, wow. That is his first double fault of the match.
Yes, which is just about what he averages, although I suppose in the best of 5 set, if they played that more regularly, it would be 1.5 doubles a match.
Great shot from Haas. 6 straight points for the German.
Well, Federer seemed to be onto it, but it just kept accelerating away from him. That extra little bit of whip that Haas had. You can see the racket finishing up high over the left shoulder.
(15-30).
These little opportunities, Haas gritting his teeth after missing that one. Knows he's got to force Federer to play more.
Well, this is a decision as to whether it's a let or a fault. And the decision is that it's a fault. I always think when they've had a delay between first and second serves like that, it's real pressure on the second serve.
Well, Haas didn't get his footwork right there, did he, quite? He was sort of loping towards the ball in the end. There wasn't much acceleration.
40-30.
Lovely feel, yes, by Federer. Yes, the umpires at the beginning of a match quite often remind the players, if they are to ask the umpire to check a mark after first serve, that they do it very quickly so as not to hold up the server.
Federer. Changement de balle, s'il vous plaît, ramasseur, new balls.
A little punch of the fist there from Federer. Needed that game, didn't he? I love 30 down, isn't it?
Yes, and Haas, I mentioned gritting his teeth, but should have kept keeping on. The problem was he kept keeping on doing the same thing, missing the return of serve. It was quite playable. Real relief for Federer, who's changing his racket just at the moment.
2 sets all and 1 all then. And new balls.
Really admonishing himself there. Just lifted as he played that. Got to stay down on it.
Well, that first serve is going to be so crucial to Haas's hopes in this final set. It was when it started to desert him towards the end of the third that the tide turned. Oh, that's a brilliant serve.
And Federer, of course, can sense just by the raising of the Haas game here, even by the look in his eye, that this is a very different set from the fourth set.
Come on, says Tommy Haas, who of course has his home in Florida. And we're on serve, early stages of the fifth set. So 1-2, final set. Federer serving. Haas leading at one stage by 2 sets to love, and a break point for a 5-3 third set lead. Made it. Didn't sound like a clean hit.
No, certainly intended to play it down there. 21st stroke of the rally. And noticeably Haas coming in on the backhand side, but was still faced, if he had to get to this ball, with a forehand volley. One wonders what he would have done with it.
If you're just joining us, that's reference to 3 horrors he played his last 3 forehand volleys.
$30-0. $40-0.
13 aces now for Federer. Will that be unlucky for Haas?
Well, perhaps a little ultra casual at 40 love. Unlikely to make a big difference, but Haas could make it painful if it does.
It really would be self-inflicted wounds if he drops this service game now. 2 shockers. My, that's missed by a country mile. Matters not in the end.
Iffy. An iffy game.
Well, we have a moment. I'll tell you that Philip Kohlschreiber is 4-3 up on serve against Tommy Robredo over on court Suzanne Longland. And of course it's 1-all in that match.
Two Germans on the main courts. Haas hasn't been here for 3 years.
But has never got past the 4th round here. Federer, of course, losing finalist for the last 3 years. No. 2 super forehands there from Federer, right out of the meat of the racket. A beautiful sound, in particular I thought the service return.
Good tennis, and Haas played his part too with the first defensive backhand. Even the second one he actually middled pretty well. He was asking a lot to make it.
Well, he's back on song. They make that 11 aces now for Haas.
He seemed to get too close to that. He actually got in almost ahead of the ball. Whether he just misread the flight, thought it might land a little shorter in the court.
It's the first time in this set that Haas has been tested on serve. Those points won reflecting, of course, the love set. And again, a marvellous return from Federer. And here is the first break point of the final set.
30-40.
And Haas, with an unforced error, nevertheless, looking to do some serious damage to his racket. Fortunately, stopped in the nick of time. Brilliant. That's the way to erase the wound. Just bandage it up quickly. He's got to be forward thinking, and he's got to look to be moving forward physically too.
That's an extraordinary shot. About a yard or two wide of the doubles line. Second break point for Federer. Again, middle of that return, and Federer gets the break. And right now the odds are on the Federer Express. recording only his 5th ever win from 2 sets to love down.
Federer mène par 3 jeux. Reprise.
Well, Fru, we said at the time, didn't we, if Federer comes back to win, this was at 4-all in the 3rd set, we'll all talk about that one forehand at break point.
Yes, a magnificent shot, courageous shot. It was virtually all or nothing. Haas was playing so well. As it is at the moment, Federer very much regained his equilibrium. Haas has lost his symmetry, I think. Too early for one ball. He was up in that last service game, and then too late on the other, the backhand that he missed horribly down the line. Hit a ball into the stand, but it wasn't in total anger, so he's not been penalised.
I think that's good use of the umpire's discretion. Even the crowd didn't boo and whistle him.
No. One person was only too pleased to see the ball and have a feel of it.
I got that wide myself. Haas is having a think. Could hear Nooney's poise, but no, Haas accepts.
30-0.
14th ace. Below that order.
Lovely snap on that serve, takes it over the 200 km/h mark.
Which is quick for Federer. Oh, 3 aces in a row.
And even quicker.
And much more importantly, of course, 3 games in a row. And if he does win now, people are going to start talking prematurely. It's destined that he at last wins this title. Nadal's gone, Djokovic is gone, he's come back from the dead. A lot of other guys still around in the tournament, determined to prevent him. This, of course, now a must-win game for Haas. There's no way back from 2-5.
Well, the rallies that have gone long have tended to be pretty even, really. The shorter the rally, generally, unless it's a Haas ace, Federer's won the very quick points. That, I think, was about 19 strokes. Not quite as long as some have been. But as you can tell from the time, 5-set match that is yet to reach the 4th hour. Not that many long rallies.
Whereas for virtually 3 sets, you couldn't rely on Federer hitting more than 3 forehands in. Now he can't miss.
Yeah, he seems unstoppable just at the moment. This point really could decide whether Haas stays in the match, this next one. Love 40, I think it's tickets.
And it's not as if Haas has played a bad game here. It's just that Federer, who was so off form, is now at his best.
Well, he's like the Rhine that flows through Basel, isn't he? His hometown, it's in full flow.
3 points then for a 5-2 lead, and surely 3 points effectively for the match. He breaks to love, and now all that remains is the coronation of Federer so far as this match is concerned. But remember, in Australia he came from 2 sets to love down, but he didn't win the tournament. Quickly tell our British Eurosport viewers that Laura Robson, the Wimbledon junior champion of last year, she's won her first match. Had to come from a set down to do it, but Heather Watson, our second best British junior girl, has gone out. Philip Kohlschreiber leads 5-4 in the third set against Tommy Robredo at 1 set all. But here is Roger Federer, who is surely within 1 point of defeat. Now 1 game from victory.
Well, they're so different, these best of 5 set matches. You lead 2 sets to love, you feel you've got a real chance. Haas, particularly not having been here for a couple of years. I know personally I probably had 6 or 7 where I led 2 love and lost in the end. It's a different animal, and it's very uplifting, of course, when you do it, as Federer is about to.
And I have to say, Phil, that much as I have dreamt ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper of a British man winning a Grand Slam title, which hasn't happened since the 1930s, there would be no more worthy a champion here at the French than Roger Federer. And no one would be happier than I, and I'm sure all of us who love this game, than to see him win the one title that's eluded him. But I'm getting ahead of myself. He's only trying to get into the quarters. At least Haas is, if he's going to go down, he's going to go down fighting, all guns blazing, all credit to him. And listen to this.
Yes, Haas, I think, asking for some applause there, deserving of it too. One of the rallies of the match. He had the opportunity perhaps to try and take Federer out of it altogether. As you said earlier, Ivan Lendl might have tried.
It's a Mark Twain moment. Reports of Haas's demise may have been exaggerated.
30-40.
This wasn't in the script. Certainly not at 30 love.
Good to see that he deserves something, does Haas. Well, it wasn't easy in the first game to play those high bouncing balls, and it's not easy. Is it the last?
Just 4 times before in this almost unique career Has Federer come from 2 sets to love down.
Trying to enter with a volley and a handshake. Trying to steal in. Hadn't used that tactic at all. Well done, Haas, for being wary of it. Or aware of it, rather.
Avantage Federer.
Second match point. That'll do it. Well, he's getting a little more emotional in his old age, Federer at 27. But what a moment for him.
6-4, 6-4, 6-0, 6-2.